When we last left off, Frodo deserted all of his friends to be torn apart by monsters, but he decided, oh, you know what, I suppose I can spare Sam the painful death of drowning and instead use him as my own personal fuck donkey. So later on, they turn in for the night, but this connoisseur of the brown is sniffing around for cigarette butts and spare change. That will require 6 months of antibiotics. Anyway, he gets his hooks in and he takes Sam's back, but before he can secure the rear naked choke, Frodo is like, nobody gives a fuck about MMA, stop cramming it into every modern fight scene. And then Frodo is like, oh Sam, we can't just kill whatever the fuck this thing is. That would be inhumane. Let's just keep him as a slave instead. But Gollum is like, please untie me. I'm sorry for trying to kill you in your sleep. No. Come on, you dickhead. Yeah, okay then. Meanwhile,
give him some medicine, boys.
These guys are alright. Yeah, so these orcs think Merry and Pippin have the ring, but I guess they're not allowed to check. And this rat-faced orc is like, I know we're supposed to bring these two to Saruman, but he didn't say we couldn't, eat them partially. He definitely did. No, he'll be fine with it. He'll be fine with it.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Right, this line has bothered me for years. What does he mean, menu? How does he know what that is? How does he know what a menu is? Are there orc restaurants? Is there an orc chef? Menu is a French word. Then later on, these guys surround Aragorn and the boys, and they're like, hey, what are you doing on our land? You can't own land, man. It belongs to everybody. Okay, I'm fucking done talking to you. Even his sword wants out of this social situation. But Aragorn is like, look, we're on the trail of some orcs, but not like normal orcs. They're like some jacked orcs. Have you seen any? Yeah, we had a tear up with those boys t'other night. Oh, were there any halflings? What are those? Well, they sort of look like human children, but with the heads and voices of 35-year-old men with the Andre the Giant feet. Oh yeah, we'd have definitely killed those guys if we'd have seen them. We are not a tolerant people. We would have fucking killed you guys if you hadn't have had at least one human man with you. So to blow off some steam over his friends getting murdered, Aragorn has a game of five-a-side football with a man's severed head. I wouldn't have been happy with that touch either. Anyway, he does like a homeless Columbo detective thing and he figures out that the boys crawled into these spooky woods. And I'm not covering the part with the talking trees because the ends are boring as fuck and they destroy the pacing of this film.
Didn't need them then, don't need them now.
Meanwhile, in these woods, Legolas is like, the white wizard approaches. Oh, he's white. Well, no problem then. Those guys aren't allowed to do anything anymore. Anyway, it was Gandalf all along, but just to fuck with him, he pretended to be Saruman and did his voice. But don't worry about the clunky ass metaphor he gives as an explanation for that. Look at how sweet this monster fight is. Man, you had to have been there. We had a fight that lasted like 2 weeks straight. We fought in a cave, then in a blizzard, then on top of a tower. He was trying to throw fireballs at me. I was trying to throw lightning at him. It was like Elden Ring for like 10 years before any of that shit existed. It was fucking amazing. Oh wow, I want to hear more about that. Nah, I'm done talking about this forever. So they gotta head for Edoras to see King Theoden. But first is like, this is Shadowfax, Lord of all horses. Lord of all horses, you say? Well, that's a bit problematic, so we're just gonna change that. There we go. Anyway, meanwhile, Gollum shows up to the Black Gate, and Sam is like, how the fuck are we supposed to get in there? I don't know. I was led to believe by all the flashbacks that Mordor was just a big volcano with steps going up the side of it. I wasn't really counting on orcs knowing what cement was. Then they nearly get caught by these cool golden owl samurai men. And I hoped you liked all 3 seconds of these guys, because I don't know where it is they're going, but they are never coming back. We're never going to see them again. A Wormtongue tries giving it big licks to Gandalf, but is like, hey, listen up, man in the mirror. I will spark you clean the fuck out if you don't start moonwalking. Okay, what's your plan now? Well, I was thinking I'm gonna yell at him until he's young and sane again. And you know what? It works. And Theoden is like, where's my son? Dead. He's fucking dead. Anyway, time for a quick zug while we figure out what to do about all these orcs running about Rohan. And the plan is simple. Gandalf is gonna ride around the countryside aimlessly looking for the Rohirrim, while everybody else piles into this ancient ruin from which there is no escape and hope for the best. But the king is like, I'll be fine. They're gonna need like 10,000 guys to get in there, and there's only like 600 people in the entire world. Meanwhile, these guys fuck up these CGI elephants, and Faramir is like, who was he? What was his name? Where did he come from? Oh yeah, that was Bogtron, the town fist. It's not frowned upon in their culture. There's a reason why these guys joined with the monster army that live in a volcano land. Anyway, he captures Frodo, and it turns out he's seen Bean's brother. Anyway, back on the Oregon Trail, and they get attacked by these men riding dogs, and this guy thinks he's the big dog, just because he's riding a big dog. But Legolas is like, no mercy for the greenskins, and they start carving each other up, and Gimli gets pinned under this horse-sized dog, and we're skipping the warm-up sets, add more weight. Then he proceeds to bench press 2 horse dogs and a dead guy like it's a fucking peanut. But oh no, Aragorn gets dragged off this cliff, and this guy with staples in his head is like, knock knock, who's there? Your sexy friend dead at the bottom of that cliff. And they reach Helm's Deep, and Eowyn is like, where is Lord Aragorn? For I would very much like to suck him off. And Gimli is like, he was my brother, and now he's getting sucked off by the devil. But it turns out Aragorn was just having a paddle, and he thinks he's snogging his lady, but it was actually his horse. But there's no time to deliberate over that confusing erection. He's got to get back to the boys and warn them about Saruman's army. Meanwhile, Fazzy Badman brings Frodo and Sam to his Faz cave, and Frodo is like, I knew your brother. Alright, he's dead. Oh, that's not surprising, considering the last time I saw him, I wrapped a piece of firewood round his head and left him to die. Then Faramir figures out that Frodo has the ring, but he's very easy to convince that letting him go is the right call. Anyway, back at the only plot strand anyone cares about in this movie, Aragorn gets to Helm's Deep, and Gimli is like, I'm so glad you're alive, laddie. We should get an apartment together when this is all over, man. You know, just 2 guys doing what they want, whenever they want, just figuring stuff out, you know? And he's like, I gotta go see the king. So he lays it down that the biggest army of monsters ever assembled is on its way, and they've got till nightfall to prepare. And then Legolas throws his toys out of the pram because all the soldiers are old fucks. Then he argues with Aragorn in like Chinese or some bullshit. Meanwhile, Theoden has a minor stroke. Then these elves come to help, led by that guy Aragorn used to practice kissing on when he was a teenager, before he was allowed near any of the women in the heavily guarded compound where he grew up. But there's no time to fondly recall boyhood experiments. The orcs are here, and this old guy just can't hold his warlord any longer. And just look how sad that orc is, man. That was his best friend that just died. They came out of the same slime pit sack together. And Gimli just starts cock-chopping everybody. And Theoden is like, I know the battle's only been going on 2 minutes, but I think we're going to win. But don't worry, all those monster men covered in sharp metal broke Aragorn's fall. Also, who put a fucking ladder up on the wrong side of the wall after they already got in when the stairs right there? So they fall back, and Gimli is like, toss me immediately. You mean throw you? I know what I said. Anyway, he tosses him off, then he tosses himself off. Then the boys are about to escape, but this orc is like, take me with you, please. I don't want to be an orc anymore. Saruman takes in turns fucking us. So the boys get cornered in the final room of Helm's Deep, and it ain't looking good. And Theoden is like, just let him in. I don't give a fuck anymore. Then this fuck is like, oh, by the way, there is a secret way out of here through the mountains. Why the fuck are you just saying this now? Because I fucking love secrets. You know what? I'm done talking about this. I'm just gonna ride out on my horse into that sea of monsters and hope for the best. Then Aragorn remembers that Gandalf is a thing. Meanwhile, Frodo is rolling about with Sam, and I've just fucking lost track of who is where and why. The extended edition of this movie is 4 goddamn hours long, man.
It's me. It's your Sam.
That's a very odd way for a straight man to beg for his life. Anyway, the rest of the orcs run into the spooky woods and get crushed to death by the trees. And then Gimli is like,
Cause he's got my axe embedded in his nervous system.
how does he know what that is? How does he know what the nervous system of the brain is? None of this makes any sense.